Hi, guys, and welcome to JoeTV. I'm your host, Zac King, and on today's episode, we have a very talented guitarist and singer. He's a two-time guest on JoeTV and now a two-time finalist for the Talent of the Year contest. I give you Conner Cherland. Conner, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Zach?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you very much for asking. Let's start with the main topic. How does it feel to be a two-time finalist?
It's good. You know, when you're the two-time finalist, your two times is fine. And boy, do I feel fine today.
Now, guys, if you go to talentjoe.com and you go to Conner's profile, his profile page looks like a general because he's got gold and silver medals all the way straight across the page. So I've got to ask, in today's world of sort of going into one thing and the other very quickly, the what about me culture, the right now culture, how do you keep your fans engaged in voting on the site month after month after month?
I mean, in general, I just make a lot of content. So I play a lot of gigs, like 3 to 5 a week, and then I take videos of those gigs, and then I post some of that material on my Instagram and on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And then I also just started my blog, so I'm just trying to, in general, keep people as engaged as possible and keep them on the journey with me.
Right. And again, since you are a two-time guest on JoeTV, for folks that did not see last year's interview, tell folks about your background, who influenced you growing up, how long that you've been in the music game, and basically everything about Conner.
Okay, everything about me.
Everything about Conner.
So about 3 years ago, or probably about 4 years ago, I had a goal of getting paid for music one time. I just wanted to see if I could get paid. And then I was working a day job building websites, and then at night I would go and play these gigs. Eventually I had so many gigs that started imposing on my day job. My day job was imposing on my gigs. So I switched over to full-time musician and started doing like 3 to 5 gigs a week. And I've been doing that consistently for like 2.5 years. And since then, that's just been my main gig. And also about 6 years ago, I made a decision to write 40 songs in 6 months, and got to about 35 in that time. And since then, I've written like 130, and I've just continued to iterate on that. So that's where the first 3 albums come from. That's where the next one is going, and it's all just kind of a bit of my process, and talks about my life, and it's kind of, I hope that they're snapshots of kind of where I am in the process, and hopefully they just keep on getting better, and people are connecting with them already, so hopefully they just keep gaining traction.
Now, doing that much content, all those songs in a relatively short amount of time,
Yeah.
Where do you pick up the influence to have that much in a 6-month window?
So that 35 songs in the 6-month window, the first, like, because these were the first songs I'd ever written. So yeah, everything was on the table. Song about mom, song about dad, song about sister, song about dad's relationship with sister, song about dumpsters. And then you're just like naming every object and trying to write a song about it. And then as time went by, it got harder and harder because all the simple things were taken, and I had to actually think through new things and get new inspiration from old artists. I had basically an entire lifetime of material to pull from, and then once I had used all of that up, then it became a bit harder, and I just had to keep working through new stuff.
In your opinion, on the 3 previous albums and the one you're working on now, how would you explain the transition? Is it topical? Is it simply a maturity thing as you get more experience in writing and performing music? Tell us about the journey between all of the albums.
Yeah, the first album, it's called Wanting Man, and it's a result of the first 40 songs I ever wrote, and those were just 6 of my favorite songs that I wrote. The second album was basically the same thing, where it was like, these are a bit more related, this has a bit more of a cohesive sound, but it's still just my favorite 7 songs of the second 40 that I made. And then on the third one, I got this voice pedal, and it was able to like transform my voice a bit, and it was interesting because I listened to a lot of like sci-fi rock, like a lot of Coheed and Cambria sort of stuff, and there was one of the functions of the pedal. It could make my voice sound like a woman. It could make me sound like it would do like an octave down sort of a thing, so you sound kind of like a crazy demon sort of thing. You could do like a chorus effect, and so I wrote 6 songs all using that pedal, and then I kind of stripped it back down and put those songs on the album because they all developed the same story, and it was like sort of this concept album that I had made. So that's how that was, and I think the next album will also be sort of a concept album, but it's all just one big ruse for stuff I'm going through, and it makes its way out through songs. So if it's a concept about something else, it's really just about me. But
now, being a Coheed and Cambria fan, have you ever done a cover of Welcome Home, just by chance?
No, one acoustic guitar does not do Welcome Home any justice.
No.
There's a few of their songs that they'll do acoustic. I've learned Mother Superior. Yeah, but that's about as far as I'll go into it.
And again, speaking of Coheed and Cambria, who performing wise, who writing wise, who sort of inspired you as you began to, at the very, very beginning, do your own thing?
Yeah, so the first person to really inspire me was probably Ed Sheeran. Watching him use a loop pedal was like, oh my gosh, look what one guy can do just by himself. That's kind of a lot, what he can do. That started to fade away as I got into people like Shaky Graves, who also does a lot of foot percussion. That's like very, very live, like uses a kick pedal, uses a foot tambourine, uses effects on his guitar. And then he also incorporates a band sometimes. So that was also seeing like just what one man could do, which is still a lot. Hozier is a really big influence. I think he's one of the best songwriters that's around right now. And then also Coheed and Cambria. Like, I try to pick role models that are interesting to me musically, and also like live a life that I can appreciate. And I think that those 3 guys are all pretty incredible people, and they're also incredible musicians. So I'm a huge fan of their careers, and I wish them all the success in the world. And I love everything that they've been putting out for the last decade. So
you mentioned all your gigs, and I'm going to vouch here because I usually do my homework for all these interviews. If you go to ConnerCherland.com, you are booked silly until darn near Halloween. Do you book the gigs yourself? Do you have a management team? Talk us through that process and how you go about booking your gigs.
Yeah, so I've continued to book my own gigs since this all started. There's some relationships that you'll develop along the way where like everybody needs help. So there are certain people who have an ear to the ground, and they'll hear of something. They're like, hey, Conner, you should reach out to this. But it's usually me booking in the end. There are a couple wedding event planners that I've worked with, and they continue to pitch me to potential clients, and that's super helpful because then I just get gigs from them.
So something that we have asked a lot of our interviewees, especially over the last 6 months, is describe the process of networking, because like you said, you have the content on Talent Joe and on your website. You are booking your own gigs, using the medium like Talent Joe to try to get your name out. Really, we're all about helping you get discovered. Right. Please explain to our audience and folks that may want to be a finalist too, how important networking is to your success.
Yeah, I had it in the first couple months of having this career. I was visiting this guy. He's like 34, and he's been in the game for like the last 20 years. He was a guitarist and a solo artist. And the first piece of advice he gave to me was that everybody needs a lot of allies in this industry, because whereas in other companies you would have a boss, and then you'd have a manager, and then you'd have your coworkers. It's a network that develops organically and really without your care. But when you're a musician, like I work alone the majority of the time. So anytime, and it has to be genuine. So anytime I meet someone I actually really like and want to work with in the future, I keep in contact with them, and I treat them like I would a friend. And they post something on Instagram, and I follow up with them, and I come through their town and I see if they're free for coffee. And it's like I'm super type A, so when I first heard the word networking, I was like, okay, people I can use for my advantage. That was what it meant, and now it means, ideally, they're my friends that I can count on in the future. Not even for business stuff, just like for personal stuff. The next time I see them, we can go out for a walk and talk and like help each other through stuff.
Now, speaking, that's a great segue, and I laugh because being sort of type A, quote unquote. Now let's ask about competition.
Yeah.
This is the second time that you have been a Talent of the Year finalist. You have a lot more experience this time around. You've been through the process once. We have a very, very strong field this time around. Why should our audience and folks that may see this interview vote for you this time around?
I think that one of the things I have on my side is durability. I really don't think that I am the best musician in the world. I think that I have something important to say and continue to think critically and continue to live my life in a way with integrity. And I went into this industry knowing that it was going to be hard and setting myself up so I can do it for the long haul. So I think in general, supporting me and voting for me, what it does is you're in support of a lifetime career, not a flash in the pan. And I think that's what, I think that's how you make a vote really count. If it can bolster someone's lifelong career versus just helping them in the next year. I think that's very different.
So tell our audience, what's the next thing around the pipe for Conner Cherland?
Next thing, I'm going on tour in June, so I'll be going from LA up to Portland. And then after that, probably coming out with the next EP, so that'll be another 6 songs. And I'm working with a band down in Pasadena on that. Some really close friends and really good guys.
So shameless plug time, where can our audience find all of your music?
All of the music at ConnerCherland.com, share like the singer, land like the ground.com. All of it's on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And then you can check out my shows, my calendar on my website, all that. All my stuff's on my website. So if you can find my name on the internet, then you can find me.
All right, Conner, I've got one last question for you. Do you have any special messages for the audience?
Do I have any special messages for the audience? Try something that scares you. That's my life at the moment, and it has been for the last 2.5 years. So seems to be working out. Seems to be healthy for the heart. So please do that.
All right, Conner, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. And guys, that is all for today's interview with Conner Cherland. So for Conner, I'm Zac King saying we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.